is it me? We're gonna work it. We're gonna do it.
We're gonna wing it.
We're gonna do it because I don't feel like getting up anymore. So, first and foremost, thank you, Keeyana, because one of my first interviews, if I'm not mistaken, was with you.
Really?
Yeah, I think that was actually my first interview. At least that's the first one I can remember. Like if it was something else, my bad to whoever did interview me. Oh damn.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Oh damn. I'll just edit it. I'm gonna spread it out more. And then hold on, and then we can put this one right here. Okay. I just gotta watch out. That was me. All right, so shouts out to the person if someone else did interview me prior to this. I mean, prior to Keeyana interviewing me first. So shouts out to them. But today is about Keeyana, right? They sponsor my event as well as they have their own products, their own podcast, and their own journey to talk about. So introduce yourself, and then, you know what I mean, we gonna get into it. You heard?
All right, so my name is Maya Keeyana. I am the owner of Live and Love Boutique, where we learn to love ourselves unconditionally. And as a short intro, I'm 24 years old. I love love. I love positivity. I have my bachelor's degree in psychology. And I love teaching. I'm a toddler teacher on top of running my own business. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
You young.
Yeah.
Young blood out here. Okay, I never knew that. See, this is why I love having these conversations, because I'm like, she wise, so I'm thinking she my age, right? So we not gonna go over my years today. She young, right? So shouts out to everybody. Don't be saying my stuff in the comments. We gonna keep it right there. So so you talked about first loving love, and you know what I mean, that's part of the name of your business. So what's the infectious connection and the reason why you feel so strongly about love? Where does that come from, or why?
I feel like the connection is just natural, and maybe that's where the love comes from, because just like the naturalness of it. I feel like I wrote a quote, and it's in my it's in this journal actually, and it says that a human's nature is to love as a flower's nature is to grow. So it's just like it's your nature. So anything else but love, you going against yourself. It takes so much more energy, so much more force to put yourself in that position to be negative or anti-love or anything other than love. So I feel like that's really my motivation behind it, and that's what keeps me connected to the mission. But more, well, I can't say more so, but also thinking about the future, I started this business in 2019, but around 2017 is when I started to think about like becoming more conscious, watching different videos and making myself more aware about like different African practices, the chakras, and basically a little bit of everything when it comes to like what you would call the conscious world. And at that point, it was like, I felt like the world was just going nowhere fast. Like, I felt like we was living in hell. I don't want to have no kids. I still feel like that a little bit. And it's like, I got to do something. Like, I can't just be here to be here. I have to do something. And I felt like that's when I realized what my purpose was. And I dedicated the rest of my life to figuring out how exactly to help the world live in love, basically.
Is that when you started your lock journey?
No, I started my lock journey in 2020.
Your hair long then. That thing,
It started long though. I feel like, I don't know if I cheated or what, but my hair was like pressed out when I locked it, so it was already kind of long. Even though like, you know, shrinkage is natural, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to say that thing looked like since 2017. What? Okay.
Thank you.
So, you know, I used to tell this young lady that I was a partner with one time. Actually, she was older than me, but she's still a young lady. You feel me? Like, right? Mm-hmm. You know. So, but I used to always tell them, like, I don't oftentimes see how the world lives in love, like what you were mentioning. Like, I don't see it in my environment, or I wouldn't see it in the relationships or the people's relationships that was around me. And I will always tell them, I'd be like, I'm a protector of love, so much to the point where it's like, if I see you being cheap or being lazy or being cowardice with your love, it turns me off. I get away from it. Because like you said, it's natural. So that's a key sign to me that you're going against yourself. So it's like when people tell me that they like something, specifically people, because I'm talking about a romantic relationship I had, I would be like, if you keeping yourself away from someone that you like, you keeping yourself away from yourself. Even if something from that could potentially go wrong long term, that was for you. So you could learn your patterns and your behaviors. And I always take all of my relationships, especially when they're romantic ones, as additions to who I am. Because even if they end in a way I don't like, it's helping me understand what I want. It's helping me understand what I like. So that's what, when you started talking about just the reflection of love in this world, that's what it made me connect with. So how do these products that you created make that connection for you in terms of, I guess, reinforcing that belief in a world where it's not always present or prevalent? Or like, how do these operate or provide themselves as tools to people maybe looking to establish more of that self-love or be, just get on that love journey?
I love that question. For me personally, I feel like they help me. So the 3 pillars of my business is free expression, psychology, and mindfulness. They all kind of intertwine, but based on those...
Can you say them again? I want to lock them in.
It's free expression, psychology, and mindfulness.
All right.
So I feel like through free expression, that's, the journals, it helps you just express yourself freely. I think of journaling as a conversation with yourself. So as compared to you talking to somebody else, it's kind of like roadblocks. So the conversation can go a different way based on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
But as a conversation with yourself, it's like you have to listen to yourself. You have to check yourself when you're wrong. You have to pick up on certain things that you might give somebody else that responsibility if you're talking to them.
Yeah.
Type shit. So that's the journals. And then that all goes into psychology too. The mind locks in certain information differently when you're writing it down. So that's why people manifest through journaling, because it's like not only are you taking things from the metaphysical, which is the thought world, into the physical world by putting it on paper. Like it feels different. It's like you making it real. So I use that as a way to kind of validate some of my experiences. Like it's not just in your head, it's real. Write it down, and also to manifest certain things. And then what else? Yeah, that's a big part of it. The journals was my first product in a way. My first product was T-shirts. I started making T-shirts in 2019. But in 2020, I kind of rebranded the whole brand as more of a self-love center compared to just like a T-shirt company.
Word.
So then I launched the journals. And then came the candles, because I'm a creator as well. I love making stuff. I love art. And I looked into making candles. It was just something fun to do. But then I also thought about aromatherapy based on just like my love for psychology and exploring how the brain works. So with aromatherapy, it's certain combinations of essential oils and scents that, when inhaled, have an effect on the brain, effect on your mood, stuff like that. So that's where the candles came from. And my incense are just like another version of the candles.
Right, okay, yeah, because it still unlocks and provides those same benefits. And you mentioned something about like how the brain locks in to certain things when you write it down. And I was reading a book, something about influence. I forgot what the whole title was. It was like Influence, the Psychology of something, right? And it was talking about the power of commitment. And it was talking about how I have to give the context, right? They were talking about how when China was building their communist government, how even when people that they had locked up as POWs, prisoners of war, they would have them write to their fulfillment or their agreement with communism in order to write letters outside of China. So it's like, because you have to pass this letter through the mailing agency, and the mailing agency is 100% going to read your letter. And if you want your letter to leave China, you have to talk good about China. Even if you're a prisoner, even if you completely impoverished and decimated by it, so that when they started showing it to people who didn't know, they'd be like, well, look at all these good reviews we got. Everybody love this John. And so it's like, but you said it though, after writing it a couple times, you believe it. So even if you really didn't believe it, you've written it 3 or 4 times, and everything you write, you subconsciously reiterate this idea that there's nothing wrong with what you're going through to the point you start believing it. Some very powerful stuff. So it's like the power of what you're saying, like bringing the subconscious mind, feelings, and thoughts to the reality through writing. That's the power of writing. There was civilizations that didn't even allow it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Right. That just reminded
me. I mean, right. Go ahead.
It reminded me of, like, you know, in school for punishment, you had to write stuff like times. Like, I don't even know if teachers knew what they was doing or they did, but.
Look, because like you said, they'll have you write it like, I will not talk in class. I will not talk. Whole time, like, next time you be about to do it, the first thing you thought about was the punishment. You're like, I'm going to holler at you at PE, bro. I ain't even about to, you know what I'm saying?